Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Fargo, Season 3, Episode 4. It's called The Narrow Escape Problem. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, you are probably extremely ecstatic about this one, because you're a music guy, and this episode played with music
Yes.
ad nauseum.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we open with a narrator who's Billy Bob Thornton, if you didn't recognise the voice, and he Peter and the Wolf. He sort of relates all the characters in the show to that and gives them all an instrument.
Yes.
Mostly woodwind, but the wolf, the villain, gets some brass. I think it was a horn, was it?
French horns,
French
yes.
horn. And his henchman gets some drums. But the reason why this is well, first of all, it's just a very quirky Fargo thing to do, more than anything else. It's just to set them all up as part of the story. But on top of that, throughout the episode, is when you see some of these characters, their instruments accompany them
Yes,
as they
the
come on.
theme comes back in.
Yeah. That said, though, my favourite part of that whole opening, because it goes through all the main characters, he gives them their instrument and so on, and at the end of it, so introduces Peter, introduces Gloria as Peter to
Yes.
sort of, I don't know if she's the last one, but it comes back to her at the end, and then the narrator says, "Oh, and now I've got that out of the way. Now it's time to begin." And as soon as he said that, the main Fargo theme kicked in, and
Yeah,
I
it's
really
fantastic.
appreciated that. That was a really nice intro.
How familiar with you with the story? Do you know where it goes in the ending?
Nope, not Clue, not Scooby.
The wolf eats the duck,
Okay.
and then the wolf gets captured by Peter.
Right, so the duck in this case, for those who don't remember, was Ray.
Yes.
But the fact is, though, because that's such relatively common knowledge, I feel like it could be a misdirect.
It could, yeah.
Because now you're instantly going, well, oh, does that mean he's going to end up killing Ray? And
Well, you say that it actually eats the duck alive. There's a whole thing where you can
oh,
still
okay.
hear the duck inside the wolf at the end.
So it could be a metaphorical thing. But what I think's interesting, though, is arguably that's what he's doing to Emmett right now already. Like,
It is, yeah.
so, I guess you play with the expectations in that sense. But maybe, obviously, later on in the episode, he starts to ask questions about Ray and Nikki when he talks to Emmett and starts to ask questions about them. Are they going to be a problem? And Emmett rates them off, oh, they're losers, they're whatever. Like, you don't have to worry about them. Although I feel like Nikki might be the thing that brings down this entire empire.
She just might.
I feel like she might be. Was that the cat's role in the story?
I think that if I recall, I think the cat chases the bird. You know, just kind of makes sense here.
Well, again, it's swapping the two though between the bird and the duck.
Well, I mean, in the sense that she's been antagonistic towards Emmett.
Oh, sure, sure. I guess when I hear chase, I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more the way she's like courting Ray rather
Right?
than.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, that makes sense. So you have that. You have that. The narration comes back in towards the end as well to kind of wrap things up. But so one of the big things in the episode is VM. VM gets a lot of screen time in this one. We see him eat a ridiculous sum of food at a restaurant. He has like 5 plates in front of him. One's breakfast food, one's something else, and so on. And he stuffs his face like an absolute pig or a wolf, since that's what they're calling him. And he goes and vomits. He immediately we see him in the bathroom vomiting, and then later on he shows up at Emmett's house and he acts all nice in front of his wife, eats the dinner, seems to enjoy himself, and again we hear him vomiting in the bathroom. He does this again, and this all comes to because obviously up until this point you're thinking, okay, why is he doing this? What is the? Because I don't think up until his conversation with Emmett, I don't think I really understood the purpose of this.
No, me either.
It was very abstract in that sense until his conversation with Emmett, where he talks about, that this isn't rich, and he's like, wealth and money are two different things, and how using your wealth is to become invisible and to be untouchable. So it just, especially if you think back to olden times, being fat was a sign that you were quite rich. Like only rich people were fat because no one else could afford to get fat.
Yeah.
So it just ties into this idea that he doesn't want to appear like he can actually afford to feed himself, so he,
Yeah.
he vomits up.
I think it works particularly well with the first scene. When he eats the dinner with Emmett, it's okay, whatever. But the first one is he's paid to have that much food because
Yeah.
there's so much. He's proving that he can, and then it's like, no, I'm just going to deny myself that almost and go, just I did it, but I don't need it.
Yeah, I think the later scene with the dinner table is maybe just to hammer the point home rather than
Yeah,
because arguably he still needs to have some food that he keeps in like to live because
yeah.
human beings, animals, how we function, but that's certainly what they set up in this episode. And obviously thinking like, oh, and honestly, that was probably the most interesting and fascinated I got was right at the end of that conversation when he asked about Nikki and Ray, because it was kind of bringing that because up until this point he's not even. I mean, he maybe knew they existed, sure, but they've not mentioned them. It's not been like an ongoing part of the
Mm.
plot for him, uh, and obviously connecting to that is perhaps how Peter in this story, in this case Gloria, is going to bring everything down. Is how she's going to catch the big bad wolf, and obviously we see all these other things going through the episode. And I mean, not only does she go and see the body of Maurice and she investigates that, she goes to see Ray at his work and is like, huh, Stussy, what a coincidence that is. That's insane. And she meets that other policewoman in the bathroom,
Yeah.
which was a very Fargo like sort of deadpan humor
Mm.
scene with this other policewoman who's trying to get pregnant, and she's talking about trying to get pregnant, and how she wants to look her husband in the eye when they're making babies, even though you'll get the job done quicker if it's from behind. Like just these weird things. Obviously, all of this was played throughout as we see Gloria have yet more trouble with technology. The automatic door doesn't work for her. The hand dryer in the bathroom doesn't work for her. Even
The
the
taps and the
faucet.
soap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're meant to be automatic that you get in some public bathrooms and they don't work for her. And the funniest part, of course, is when the other officer comes out and uses them and they work immediately. The funniest part of the scene for me was right at the end when she just sort of stands there staring at it and then she tries to do it really quickly as if to surprise the hand dryer that the hand's incoming, as if that'll make a difference.
I do hope this has a good payoff because they're driving it home very hard now. Like before, it was okay. There's one thing here, one thing there. This was quite heavy.
Even when she comes into the parole building and she goes to the reception and the receptionist, we can see she's on Facebook. She's kind of almost ignoring Gloria because she's busy on Facebook, and then she
Yeah.
sort of begrudgingly closes it and helps
Mm.
afterwards. But even that, the idea that it's a roadblock, and I think it's funny because we compared VM's whole like plan and wanting to use the parking lot empire to funnel his money because it wasn't using technology as much as everything else. It was all cash. But interestingly, I think he's actually maybe more technologically advanced because we obviously the whole thing with the lawyer and having the virus and tapping into that, and we see in this episode that he has like basically a almost a spy van where he's like, hooked into various like
Yeah,
things. He's
we see
tapped the
him doing his
phones.
research on the internet. Like
Yeah,
I said, we're listening in on the phone calls. He's again, much like how he talks about, wanting to be invisible. He's hiding his potential. He's hiding how capable he is.
yeah. Which is a big part of his character, seemingly at this point, is hiding.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I mean, other than laundering money, like, do we even really know what his end goal is here?
No, and the implication before was that he was a representative of some company, but the
I'm
more
not.
we see
I
him,
know.
the
I'm
more
not.
it seems like it's just him.
I'm not so sure, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it at this point, but clearly he's hiding all this, and he's in his van, and we see he's tapped phones, he's listening to all these conversations, so that's why he knows things like, oh, the stamp was on the wall, he knows things like that, and he
Yeah.
knows all these other bits of information.
And like I say, it doesn't make any sense for it to be just about laundering money because he seemingly has no interest in money at the minute. He has enough by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
So what is his end game here?
I don't know. Well, I mean, if we're comparing it to him being a wolf, like, is he ultimately wanting to consume something? And obviously, I mean, and when I say consume, I'm using that very broadly. I'm using that like, what does he want to acquire as part of his wealth? What does he want to
Yeah,
get?
part of me wonders if it's just the challenge, just because he can. Like he's just doing things now because that's what he thinks he's supposed to do.
I mean, if this is tying back into the whole East-West Berlin kind of Cold
Mm.
War stuff, I wonder if it's like this is someone who in a way, obviously, I mean, he's English, but in the sense of the thematically, he came from the East. Value, having wealth is forbidden. You're not meant to have wealth in the same way that a
Mm.
capitalist does. And maybe this whole idea of keeping it secret and hiding it and keeping it invisible is like kind of playing into those themes
He
a little
feels
bit.
he feels like a bit of a bridge character in that sense
Yeah.
because he clearly wants the wealth and desires it and has it, but like you say, he has to keep it secret. So he's kind of like between the two worlds.
Hmm. Maybe it's so. I mean, I imagine in a communist society, everyone's very heavily documented and everything's like on record because everyone gets the same thing. Everyone's entitled to the same amount and all that kind of thing.
Mm.
I wonder if the whole idea of being able to buy your secrecy is like
Mm.
and maybe that's why he sees that as being so well. And again, I'm not actually suggesting that he actually is from like Eastern Europe or whatever. I mean, I'm just thematically speaking, his role in the story,
Yes.
it kind of feels like that to me. But no, it's interesting stuff. So obviously, Winnie's the name of the other police officer, the woman that Gloria meets in the bathroom, and she shows up at the end of the episode. We actually end the episode on some dots coming together for her,
Yeah, finally.
where she comes in and she's like, "Oh yeah," because that's funny. We should mention she's looking into the we'll call it the auto accident from episode 2 in the parking lot with Sai with his big Hummer, and he actually probably one of the funniest scenes in the episode is that Winnie goes to the Stussy company to she doesn't know it's Sai, she just knows the car's registered to the company, and she's in to speak to him, and like the two henchmen dudes, the Russian and the Asian guy, are like sort of watching, and Sai comes in and he's all nervous and he's like, yeah, I didn't call the police, no one here called the police, no sorry, oh yes, and the whole time they're watching through the window as they're having their
They
conversation.
just go in their heads. They're like, do we need to intervene?
Yeah.
You just know at any point they're waiting to go. Right, that's our cue. We got to step in.
Really subtle touch I loved about this is he doesn't take his jacket off. Even though this is where he was going, this is where he's remaining. I get why she doesn't take hers off. She's a police officer and she's going to be leaving
Hmm.
in 5 minutes after the conversation. He's got this big puffy jacket on, which you would never sit down in like in your office. You would always take that off.
No, it's like a little protective thing,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's an extra layer.
he's staying shielded. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a really simple little visual thing to show that he's being shielded, and he's obviously he's not doing very good. It's very reminiscent actually of William H Macy's character in the Fargo movie, where he's
Mm.
horrible. He can't hide the fact that he's hiding something.
Yeah. And this guy's really bad. It's not even that he's a bad liar. He doesn't even manage to get the lie out, really.
No,
He just gives half sentences and pretends to be annoyed and accused.
yeah, but and the funny thing is this kind of it almost moves the plot forward though, because this makes her suspicious to look into all these other things, which she goes to Gloria with at the end of the episode. Yeah, I looked into this. So this company's named Stussy. The parole officer was named Stussy. Turns out they're brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one Stussy, and she also mentions that the other, the richer Stussy brother Emmett lives in not Eden Falls,
Prairie.
Eden Prairie. Yeah, and it was like, and obviously like, oh, it's almost like someone confused the two places, and you can see just the little light bulb go on
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
Gloria's head, and as it cuts to the credit.
It's like finally they're linking together.
Yeah. So that puts her on the path because we were wondering how everything was going to kind of connect between VM and Ray, between that stuff and Gloria, and it feels like now everything's starting to intertwine a little bit.
Yeah, basically it's all Sai's fault.
It actually kind of is because he sends photos of Nikki and Ray
Yeah.
to his office, which gets him fired.
Yeah, he's kind of the linchpin of all of this because he's the one he's not part of the family, but almost feels like he is, and he acts like he's part of the family.
He feels like he's the true brother to Emmett.
Yeah, or at least he thinks that.
Yeah.
But I don't think Emmett looks at him quite that way.
Yeah, well, because even that comes up in the scene with VM when he goes to call him. He's like, "I thought you were the boss," and
Yeah.
that hits a button. He's like, "Yeah, I can deal with this. That's fine."
Yeah, exactly. And it's this outsider who's not quite part of the family who's dragging down everything around him.
Yeah. And obviously, Ray misses the meeting with the potential sponsor for the bridge tour.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit strange because obviously he made a big deal at work of sticking up for himself and his relationship, and it's like, no, this is it, and then kind of throws it all away with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point my only suggestion is that he's so distraught after his precious car has been clamped, because Sai of course shows up
Mm.
and does this pointing thing, which was cracking me up quite a bit. Again, as soon as we see him, his instrument comes in. It wasn't an oboe because Duck was the oboe.
He was a bassoon.
It was a bassoon. Yeah, it was because it was all woodwind until it got to the outright villains, and then they started getting different instruments.
Yes.
Different family of instruments. Uh, but yeah, so and it was just kind of really funny the way he came into it. He was doing this pointing, and his instrument came in. It was just Fargo has that thing where it can just be oddly amusing for long stretches of time, despite the fact that nothing overly funny is happening.
Yeah, it's just got the right tone, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got this out there tone. So yeah, he has to go and drown his sorrows because he's yeah. But I do agree it's weird that he didn't show up to that. So I'm curious as to what the development is there. Nikki might be pissed, and I can see Nikki being pissed at him, but I can also see her when she learns what happened, being like, "All right, it's revenge time."
Yeah.
I can see that. I really think she's going to be the one who makes VM's empire crumble somehow. It's going to end up intertwining, and she's going. And I loved actually that Sai was playing with. They've got like obviously they have all the parking lots. They've got a model of the parking lot outside of Ray's building, and I love that he was playing with it and he was doing stuff with his cars. His little toy cars, and then when it cuts to the building, when Gloria's getting in, and her and Nikki pass each other, by the way, and there's this little moment where she sort of notices her. But when it cut to the building, I actually like, this looks familiar. Wait, was that the model? Was that the same place? They did a good job of recreating it to the point where I actually recognised the. Because
Yeah.
even though we've been inside that building a few times, I don't think we ever got like a proper exterior to say, oh, this is the.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, so that was. That was good stuff. That was good stuff.
I enjoyed Ray's heist at the start.
Yeah, we actually we did gloss over that. That was him dressing up as his brother to go in and get to the safety deposit box, where they believe the stamp was. Instead, it was the cremated remains of Sai's dog,
Yeah.
which he tasted, by the way.
Yes, he did.
He did that thing that cops do in movies where they're tasting for cocaine, and he just gets a little bit in his finger and tastes it. And he spits it out. He's like, I don't know what this is. You don't want to know, Ray. You don't want to know.
No, he's better off not knowing.
And he gets 10 grand. And actually, that's a really good, valid little point. Again, the idea that Sai's going to bring law enforcement attention, and he already has. The fact that Ray, he's told that taking anything over 10,000 will like flag it. It'll flag it as, oh, this has to be like everyone needs to be notified because it's 10 grand. And immediately we cut to a scene where Sai's telling Emmett that this has happened. We see that their reaction,
he knows straight away, and they know exactly who it was, what's happened.
yeah. But the idea that had he just not taken that extra, because he gets a quarter for the meter outside, he adds that on. Now, arguably 10 would still do it, but even then, the fact that he doesn't just bump it down to like 9,000, 999. Like,
Yeah. Don't go. All right, give me 8.
yeah,
You know.
he doesn't play it safe. He doesn't just cut it down a little bit. He insists because he gets a little bit of a power play because he looks like he's struggling. He's being all nervous. He's trying to be nice to the new girl who the boss keeps like barking orders at, and he's being all nice. But until he tries to tell him, oh, they can't do it. Oh, you've lost the key. Oh no, we can't. There's protocol. We'd have to drill it. We can get a new key. Take about a week, and he makes this little power play. He's like, well, I'll just take my bank account elsewhere. Give me all my money. And he makes a little power. So he's feeling powerful. He's feeling. So when he asks for the money, I feel like it really is this case of no. I feel like a badass right now. I am not budging on this.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the thing that brings more attention to stuff. It's going to be something else that Gloria might be able to look into later and see more of a trail to things.
Perhaps. I mean, the only thing that makes me think maybe not is that Emmett doesn't seem that bothered about like. He doesn't seem like he's going to go to the police over it or anything like that.
Oh, no. When I say there's a trail, I don't necessarily think it's because he's going to report it. I think it's just a case of it's something else where it would not shock me if we see a scene of Gloria talking to people at the bank because she'll have learned that someone went in at some point. That he went in, and then maybe someone will deny it, and I feel like it's another part of the trail that's just. There's signposts now. Whereas if he just kept his mouth shut and just said, "No, just give me 8," it would be less of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's fair.
pretty good episode.
It is. I'm really noticing the another theme coming in for the season is storytelling, because obviously we had the story of Peter and the Wolf here.
Hmm.
We had the story of the robot last episode. We've had the sci-fi books, and it seems to be a lot of these episodes have extra stories being told within them.
Yeah, yeah, or at a very, and they typically tend to be obviously just representations of what's going on. Like
Yes.
the useless robot was kind of Gloria, and here all the characters were kind of fitting into the themes of Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah.
Like that, they kind of linked up with things, uh, and maybe that does tie into the idea with the books, the idea of stories, and the idea of like what's true and what's not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, the fallacies of what like we pretend is going on, but in actual fact this is, it maybe even ties into the theme of VM wanting to stay hidden and the idea of wealth being behind a wall, kind of thing.
Yeah. It also makes it much more aware of him being a villain. Like,
Hmm.
obviously we look at it and we go, "Oh yeah, he's the villain," but it's like the show is telling us that he's the villain through the extra stories. The narrator, like, literally goes, "Oh, he's the wolf."
Yeah, and he
In
is the
this
wolf
one,
because he basically convinces Emmett at the end to like just do it and sign away like him as a partner so that he's
yeah,
involved. And it's all when he starts saying, "Oh, you're in the business of being a billionaire now," you can just see Emmett go, "You know what? Maybe this is a good idea. Maybe we'll just."
yeah,
So he's almost like up until now he's been kind of a sympathetic character in that he doesn't want to be a part of this. He's trying to get out of it. But whereas the end of this episode implies that maybe no, he will just kind of go along with it now. He's
yeah.
maybe reluctantly at first, but it feels like he's been seduced by the dark side, to put it in a simple movie term.
Definitely. I'm just looking forward to seeing if they keep up the story ideas and see if that carries on going forward.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it happening. But no, that's Fargo episode 4. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, because that helps us out. You can also help us out, of course, by going over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. We've got some bonuses up there if you want to help us out. But you can also get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. But that's us, guys. So thank you once again. Have you got any vanilla?